We've been restructuring parts of the firm to adopt AI and alleviate some pretty high operational expenses. Unfortunately, that's led us to make some difficult decisions, including the immediate termination of your role, impacting hundreds of workers.
Will I be receiving any severance?
Of course, you'll be receiving 2 weeks severance.
You are on this call. This will be your last day at corporate court. We wish you all the best and appreciate your commitment to excellence.
So AI has been evolving very quickly, and many Americans are already beginning to be replaced by it by their companies. So today I found the craziest videos on the whole situation, and you won't want to miss a single clip.
One of my friends who works at Google just told me that Google quietly announced that their developers can actually quit their jobs and get a 4-month severance package if they choose to. They call it the voluntarily layoffs. The reason for it is because they don't need as many developers since Gemini 3 can produce much better code. So if you're a software engineer, you better have a pivot in the next 2 or 3 years before AI takes over.
It's honestly insane because it's clear that Google wants to lay off a lot of people, but they're doing it in a way that doesn't seem as bad to the public, because obviously, as we just heard, they're offering these insane pay packages. But really what they want to do is replace more humans with AI.
So my role has just been taken over by AI. I laugh because, like, if someone said this to me like 5-10 years ago, I'd be like, you are joking. You must be joking. But it's fine. I'm a real true believer in everything happens for a reason. One door closes and another door opens. For context, my role is social media and design executive. But I don't know. I don't really know if AI should be taken over from humans. If that's the case, then I feel like that's just, we're living in a really scary world now. We're living in a really scary world.
This is very unfortunate, but I'm not too surprised because, as we know, AI is pretty good at designing graphics and doing things social media related. So honestly, if you are still part of a marketing role, maybe try to look to move up into the company or move vertically somewhere else, or try to learn a new skill at least.
You guys, with the number of people that were laid off in January and how quickly AI is advancing, it looks like we're entering a point of no return, as in governments may have to introduce universal basic income because there may not be enough jobs for all of us to work. So if you do have a job right now, now is not the time to quit. Please hold on to it with everything that you have. And if you have any sort of income available to you, whether it's like a side hustle or driving Uber, use it. Use your skills now to make as much money as you can while you still can. Because the world as we know it, meaning pre-AI, looks like it's just not going to be coming back.
So honestly, I'm not sure what's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years, and I've been thinking about it a little bit, and having a universal basic income really does sound like it might become a possibility, at least within our generation.
I am terribly sad to record this. I believe that millions of white-collar workers are going to lose their jobs in the next 12 to 18 months due to AI. AI is now able to do the work of a very, very smart human in minutes or even seconds. This is going to displace marketers, coders, designers, lawyers, accountants, call center workers, you name it. The result of this is going to be an ever more extreme winner-take-all economy where the top 20% or so are able to thrive and then the bottom 80% are left behind. And when people lose their jobs, it affects dry cleaners, dog walkers, hairstylists, restaurants, all local businesses that see less people who are able to spend. We should be doing much, much more, including a universal basic income.
So this man, Andrew Yang, is completely right in that layoffs are going to continue to spike, unfortunately, and we probably even haven't started to see the start of it. And going back to the point where he said that 80% of the wealth is going to go to 20% of the people, that couldn't be more true, honestly.
Hi, I'm Sophia, a student at Stanford, and I just learned something today that I can't stop thinking about. Block, the company behind Cash App and Square, just laid off 4,000 people. That's 40% of their workforce. The CEO, Jack Dorsey, said it straight up. It's because of AI. Not because the business is failing. Actually, the stock jumped 24% after the announcement. He said a smaller team using AI can do more. And then he warned that most companies are going to do the same thing within the next year. So I keep asking myself, what does this mean for belonging? Work isn't just a paycheck. It's identity, it's community, it's purpose. What kind of person do you want to be in an economy that no longer requires you to think like a machine?
This is honestly just so heartbreaking for the average person who goes out there and works because, you know, you get laid off and then immediately after, you see your company's stock rise so much because you're seeing the company instantly get rewarded by the stock market for this decision.
My company decided this year that managers are no longer going to be doing monthly performance reviews. Now we're having performance reviews with an AI.
Hi, Miss Dorsey. Thanks for joining. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing well,
At
thank you.
what point this quarter did you realize this job is hurting your mental health?
It was a very stressful quarter. I'm glad that we were able to meet our goals.
We replaced you tomorrow with someone cheaper and more desperate. What exactly would we actually lose?
Well, you would lose a really good employee. I'm a strong worker.
Good employee and strong worker are feelings. Give me one metric, one project, or one thing you did that actually moved the needle for the company.
This whole video just seems incredibly dystopian, and the fact that she's just talking with an AI agent in her mind and my mind and a lot of people's minds, if they're in this situation, they're really just gonna feel no human connection.
How's it going?
Hey David, I'm good. How are you?
Doing okay. Definitely a busy time. So look, I want to hop right into it. As you may have heard, we've been restructuring parts of the firm to adopt AI and alleviate some pretty high operational expenses. Unfortunately, that's led us to make some difficult decisions, including the immediate termination of your role. This is not based on your performance as an employee. This is a firm-wide decision impacting hundreds of workers. I know this is probably hard to hear, so I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a shock considering how much effort I put in at this company. So I'm just wondering, will I be receiving any severance?
Yeah, of course. You'll be receiving 2 weeks severance. I know it's not a lot, but off the record, more as a friend, let me know if there's anything that I can do to help. Anyone that you see I'm connected with on LinkedIn, happy to make an intro. We were literally talking last week about those AI apps like Sprout or whatever where people are swiping to apply to jobs. Definitely check that out. But look, you're obviously a top performer and I'm sure you'll find a new role soon, okay? I do have to jump for my next call. My colleague Mark will stay on and go over offboarding. All right, take care.
Honestly, I think that is one of the quickest layoffs I've ever seen or heard. But it was surprising to me that he was so honest about it, because a lot of managers and bosses are trying to kind of skirt around the fact that people are being replaced by AI and instead contribute it to, tough economic conditions.
I feel like I spent $10,000 into my career and recording equipment for no reason, because there's like literally AI girls people can create for you for like $50 on these like random ass websites. And I just want to cry right now because I'm mid as hell. I try to spend hours doing my hair, makeup, wigs, own edits. I think every picture I post literally takes me like 10 plus hours of work. This is like literally my full-time job. And then I see that you could just buy AI, like a week's worth of AI videos and girls that look more real than me. Even with my professional camera, I don't think I could look that real and like upload it as well as like these AI like engineer people. AI that looks better than me, making more money than me, and they didn't ruin their life or reputation.
Alright, so I can't exactly say what this woman does, but I'm sure you can kind of pick up from the context clues. But this is pretty wild because this is a category of jobs that people don't instantly think about with AI replacing them, but it is going to happen.
Not only in this market, not only do you have to be great at your job, you have to be a master at marketing, you have to know SEO, you have to be able to optimize things, you have to be a great salesperson and be able to position yourself as a leading candidate when everybody looks the same. You have to be a finance master to be able to understand financials and how to articulate offers in this market and how to negotiate things. And the more I look at this stuff, the more I look at all the things that you have to be great at that don't have anything to do with the role that you're actually applying for, anything to do with your profession, the more I think maybe outsourcing your job search to someone else isn't that bad of an idea. Most of you guys can get the job if you just got an opportunity, but you can't even get through the noise because you have to be a master at so many things just to get an opportunity.
I completely agree with this man here, and if you have tried to get a job in the last 5 years, honestly, you probably have felt this too. And not only are there so many more candidates for companies to choose from, but with the threat of AI, it is becoming even more apparent that it's getting tougher and tougher to find a job.
If AI takes all the jobs, who's left to buy anything? Goldman Sachs says that AI can automate up to 300 million jobs. The CEO of Anthropic, the company literally building this technology, said that unemployment rates could hit 20%. The top 10% of earners now drive 49% of spending in America. But this time, AI isn't coming for factory workers. It's coming for lawyers, engineers, data scientists, the people holding up the consumer demand. There was a similar scenario in the 1920s. Productivity was at all-time highs, but the wages of workers stagnated. Then a few years later, it all collapsed. 25% unemployment. This was what they called the Great Depression. If workers don't have income, who buys the stuff?
So really, I think this is the most interesting AI question that I've heard yet, because what is going to happen when, the 60 and 70-year-olds end up retiring? And in 10, 15, 20 years, there are just absolutely no people that can do that high up role.
My dad forwarded me a story that he saw in the Wall Street Journal where they talked about how much money OpenAI is paying its employees. He forwards me the story and says, maybe you should look into OpenAI. Calls me today. He's like, Emily, did you get my email? And I was like, I did. He was like, what about OpenAI? Have you tried OpenAI? And I was like, I did. I actually tried it through a direct referral, which you know and I know is pretty much the best bet. He says, Emily, I think you should put together a packet to market yourself. I say to him, I don't really know what you mean by that, but I do have a website and I am active on LinkedIn. He doesn't know what any of that means. I might as well be speaking Mandarin. Maybe what they want is someone who just won't take no for an answer. Do you want me to like show up at their door and kick it down?
So I'm sure we all have experience or have heard of someone who just doesn't know about the current job market and someone who's already retired. But guys, you will not want to miss this last clip.
China's AI agent replaced 853 full-time employees and saved the company $60 million. And then the CEO went on Bloomberg to explain why that was a disaster. The AI worked, and that was the problem. It handled 2.3 million conversations in its first month across 23 markets in 35 languages. Resolution times dropped from 11 minutes to 2, and then customers started complaining. They got generic answers. They got robotic tone. They got zero judgment. The CEO admitted publicly that cost was a predominant evaluation factor, and the result was lower quality. Klarna began rehiring the humans it had fired. And here's what actually went wrong. The agent was optimizing for ticket speed. Klarna's real goal was customer lifetime value. Those are completely different objectives, and nobody told the agent the difference. A human agent with 5 years at the company knows when to bend a policy. She knows when to spend 3 minutes extra on the phone because the customer's tone says they're about to leave. She absorbs Klarna's actual values, not the ones on the website, the ones encoded in how managers make decisions daily for customers. The AI had none of that. It had a prompt, it had data, it did not have intent. 42% of companies abandoned most of their AI initiatives last year, more than double the year prior. Microsoft Copilot was adopted by 85% of Fortune 500 companies, but only 5% scaled it beyond a pilot. The organizations deploying them have not figured out how to make what they actually value.
So I just wanted to include this clip to provide some sort of hope, because this company had to rehire the people that they fired because the AI just was not doing its job well enough. So I'm hoping that this trend continues with companies like Block, who have just laid off a bunch of people in favor of AI. But guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Like and subscribe and comment what you all think, and I'll see you in the next one.